Well, human rights groups say the continued annexation of Palestinian land makes a viable Palestinian state impossible. These are the Palestinian occupied territories, the West Bank and Gaza. The settlements span the whole of the West Bank and parts of East Jerusalem, home to more than 500,000 Israeli settlers. And this is where the new settlement, Givat Hamatos, will be built. It is the first Israeli settlement to be built in East Jerusalem since the 1990s. And once it's finished, it will cut off southern East Jerusalem from the rest of the West Bank. Let's take this on. We've got Jad Isaac, who's joining us live from Bethlehem. He is the General Director of the Applied Research Institute in Jerusalem. Jad, thanks for joining us to give us some perspective on this. Tell us more, I should say, about this particular batch of settlement expansion that's so rankled the US administration.
Well, this settlement, which is called Givat Hamatos, is going to close the opening or the contiguity between Jerusalem and Bethlehem. For the first time in history, there will be a wall in addition to a wall of settlements that totally severs Bethlehem from Jerusalem. And it will make any potential viable Palestinian state impossible. The number of units which have been advanced yesterday, 2,610 units, is only part of the Givat Hamatos. They call it Givat Hamatos A. There are still Givat Hamatos B, C, and D. By the end, this settlement will have something like 4,500 units, housing about 20,000 Jews, Israelis in this land. And at the same time, all the open space that was originally that of Bethlehem has been lost. Bethlehem, during the British Mandate, had a total area of about 31,000 dunums. Now, Bethlehem has been confined to 6,000 dunums because Israel did gerrymandering. They took 25,000 dunums from Bethlehem and annexed it into what's called unilaterally the municipal borders of Jerusalem.
Right, Jad,
so
when this happens, I just wanted to ask, when this happens, what does it physically mean? What does it physically mean for those Palestinians living in the affected areas? Tell us a little bit about that briefly, if you would.
There are no Palestinians living in that area. The owners of the land are people who are either from Beit Safafa or from Bethlehem. The land that was confiscated was under the pretext that this is absentee land. They are present in Bethlehem. They can see their land from Bethlehem, but for the Israelis, they are absent. They don't recognize they are there. And they have confiscated this under the absentee property law.
And what is the recourse for Palestinians? Is there nothing that can be done? Is there any route now available? We're hearing a lot of rhetoric from the US administration, but no action.
I think what we heard from the American administration is not good enough. We don't need more criticism and more deploration and more comments on this. We need actions. The Palestinians have been negotiating for 20 years. The settlements keep growing every day. Land confiscation never stopped. So I think we have to go the only way, which is to go to the international community, which, according to international resolutions, consider all Israeli actions in the occupied territory as null and void, which is different from what the Americans are trying to say, that we have to take realities on the ground, because every day Israel is creating realities on the ground so that, you know, there will be nothing to negotiate. So this time we have to go to the ICC and to the UN to see what the world will tell us against these atrocities of Israel.
Do you think the International Criminal Court can provide a solution here? Is it possible that there could be resolution through the ICC?
We have the ICJ decision regarding the wall, and the opinion of the advisory opinion of the court stated very clearly that all Israeli actions, including the settlements and the wall, are illegal, and Israel should restitute the conditions to how they were. So we have the international community decisions and all the resolutions that allow us to go into these directions. Now, we know that if we go to the Security Council, most probably we'll have the United States will veto this decision, but this means that if the United States will veto this, this means that the United States is no longer an honest broker of the peace process, and we have to find alternatives.
Jad Isaac, very good to get your perspective on this. Thanks very much indeed, Jad Isaac there.